Welcome to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good in our community. And we're kicking it off with the CEO of Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce, Ralph Schulz. How are you doing, Ralph?
Well, Jeremy, you could lead any of our meetings with that kind of intro.
Hey, well, you have to be excited when you're doing, power the good and talking about good things going on, and especially Partnership 2030, which we'll dive into here in a little bit. But give us some background. Obviously, hopefully everyone in the business community knows what you do. But for those who don't know, give us some backstory on the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce.
Well, the Chamber actually has a purpose statement that works. The Chamber exists to create economic prosperity by facilitating community leadership. So the Chamber is really here as a tool for both public and private leadership in the community to create policy that encourages economic expansion and opportunity. And it exists to help businesses find that way to investing in that economic expansion. So that's what we're really here to do.
Talk about the way you're structured, because obviously you've got the business support, but as you mentioned, using that in a broad array of ways that benefit the community at large.
Well, we're a private organization. We're not a government organization. So what's important to us being able to do our work well is to be able to work in partnership. I just spoke with the mayors of this region who are important players in that economic opportunity in this region. But we're also very connected to a couple of thousand businesses in this region as well who want to expand their business and they want to grow their business. And so they're looking to us to be a benefit or a resource to helping them do that.
When you look at the growth of the Nashville area, it's been obviously prolific, and the business community plays a vital role in that. And it's everything from education, talent development. These are core pieces of Partnership 2030. But give us a little backstory, because we're about to talk about the iteration of where we are now, but there's some really cool storylines of the business community coming together saying, hey, we want strategy, we want to help, we want to raise our hand, let's do this. And it's leading to really good things.
Well, I mean, think about the present circumstance. In February of 2020, Nashville's economy was growing at almost 3 times the rate of the national economy. That means more jobs and really affluence in this area. Fast forward to the end of COVID, and you find that as we projected in March of 2020, Nashville's economy is really back to full strength right now and back on that growth curve. In order to expand the economic opportunity and the prosperity for the people that live in Middle Tennessee, we have to have a strong quality of life, which is very positive. People are staying here, people are moving here, and people are growing here. And then the second thing we have to have is for businesses to create more job opportunity, they need to see people in the community that can fill the jobs they're going to create. That makes education, transportation, and even housing availability really important. And then finally, those job creators are looking for a place that they can do business well, do business easily, meaning public policy has to be encouraging business. And we have a lot of fundamentals that are really good. We're in a great geographic location as Middle Tennessee. We have a business-friendly environment. And finally, we have a place that people want to live. They love the culture. You know, we have 30 to 35,000 people moving here every year, and they are drawn first and foremost by the culture and the vitality of this entire region.
And I think what's neat about it is on both sides. The companies are moving because they see the talent. The talent is moving because they see the opportunities and the quality of life and all of those dynamics. And so I think it's not necessarily a chicken or the egg, because in both cases, they're really creating synergy among each other.
Most of our economic growth is tied to businesses who are already here or being created here. But when we see those businesses like an Oracle coming to town with 8,500 jobs, there are 11,000 other jobs that'll be created just because we got those 8,500. That's business opportunity for lots of businesses, and it's opportunity for the population that's already here.
Absolutely. So describe Partnership 2030.
Partnership 2030. In the early 1990s, the business community and then Mayor Phil Bredesen got together and said, we need a plan. Nashville is not the opportunity place that it needs to be, and what we're missing is a plan. So that was the first 5-year plan of public and private partnership to expand opportunity. On July 1st, we will enter the 7th 5-year plan for the area. And what's interesting about that is that the fundamentals are still pretty much the same, but we've seen the results of working those fundamentals well over the last 30 years. Quality of life, still the most important baseline ingredient. Good education, good job creation, very important to having everyone enjoy the prosperity. We have identified in this last planning process, though, a portion of the population that is not participating in the economy to their highest level of opportunity. And therefore, they're not seeing the benefit of that. We call it economic inclusion, call it deep prosperity, as we call it. And so in this next 5 years, we will continue to see lots of job creation, but you're going to see a lot of investment by the business community, the chamber, and other partners in helping people to realize their full potential. So that means investment in education. It means investment in transportation. It means investment in housing affordability, and kind of new to the list, but very significant, investment in childcare. Childcare is when you're a double income family and you are a family, it's very important to have childcare available, and childcare is scarce. It is a real barrier to families improving their position. And then the last thing I'll say is that one of the things we studied is COVID accelerated the loss of a certain level of jobs, usually lower wage jobs, usually lower skilled jobs. But as those jobs departed, the people who held those jobs will need to reskill. And so, again, a focus on education, but honestly, education's not the only requirement. Access to transportation that gives you access to that education, housing, proximity to where the jobs are, all those things are really important.
I think that's the hardest piece of this, is that you look at childcare as an example, like you said, and even unpacking that becomes very complicated because you need it fairly close to where they live, so they're not having to go too far to be able to get to the kids and the work. And so you've got to have the proximity, but then like you said, it's affordability, it's access. There's so many layers to anything that you talk about where you've got to cover it as a holistic endeavor. You can't just cover one side. And dive in a little bit on that side, because I think on your end, it's one thing to have the strategy and to come up with a strategy, but then because there's so much complication, you need these partnerships with all these different entities. So talk about kind of that piece of it where you can be the quarterback in one regard, but you can't be the whole team. So you got to be able to really bring the whole team together to go and score that touchdown.
Yeah, partnership is an apt name for this plan because, yes, there are quarterbacks, but it's not even the same quarterback all the way through a process to deal with things like childcare or transportation. The role of leadership shifts as time goes on, as the needs are encountered. So, you're exactly right, which is why in our purpose statement, that facilitating community leadership, we try to do the things that give leadership the opportunity to act and to execute and to deliver on the promise going forward. So there are lots of organizations, lots of people that are a part of resolving these issues. No one place can do it. Government can't solve housing affordability by itself. You have to have a supply that the private industry will provide. Same with childcare. Honestly, the same with transportation. If we didn't have private initiatives in transportation, we'd be in a lot worse shape on transportation than we presently are. But the public part of transportation needs to be boosted. And the only way we're going to do that is by having a revenue source that is dedicated to transportation and transit projects, because they're expensive, they're significant, they reach the whole community. And to be able to pull that off, you've got to have a dedicated funding source.
How can the community help push Partnership 2030? How can we plug into that?
You know, first and foremost, be aware of it. Be aware of what the potential barriers to prosperity are and what the challenges to prosperity are, as well as the opportunities to create prosperity. So be aware of the fact and communicate what are the things we need to work on and what are the things we need to exploit. What are the opportunities to exploit? The second thing is, and this is a role of every community member, you know, when you vote, when you participate in your civic duty and responsibility, elect those people that are concerned about prosperity of the whole population, everybody. And then finally, plug into organizations that are doing the work that you are passionate about and are important for the community. The chamber isn't the answer for everyone. Sometimes it's Hands-On Nashville. Sometimes it's United Way. Sometimes it's Boys and Girls Clubs. Plug into those places because professionals there are leveraging your engagement to generate the highest possible value.
You mentioned on the voting side, being informed, casting your vote, which leads to a referendum. Talk about the referendum that is on your radar right now.
Well, the referendum that has been proposed that would significantly change the way Nashville is governed, it is something we need to defeat. We are going to take out of the hands of our elected officials the opportunity to manage the finances. And what that means is that they're not going to be able to generate police and support police. They're not going to be able to support firefighters. They're not going to be able to support teachers. The proposal that's been made is radical. It alters the landscape of Nashville. And for every citizen, they need to be concerned that the people we count on to provide police, to provide fire protection, provide education, they're going to be harmed by this referendum. So it's a pretty easy vote no, but you've got to know what the issue is, and it is complicated. So, you know, go to savenashville.com, savenashvillenow.com to find out the detail behind these 6 things that are being proposed. That, you know, you elect your council person, you elect your mayor, you expect them, they make these decisions on your behalf. We're going to be taking that opportunity away from our elected officials.
Talk about words of encouragement looking forward, obviously coming out of the pandemic. And like you said, the job growth has been tremendous. And where we are as a community is amazing in terms of the potential. But talk about words of encouragement looking forward for not just the rest of 2021, but 2022 and beyond.
Well, number one, opportunity is going to continue to expand. Nashville's a desirable place and jobs are going to continue to grow here. And that gives people options, right? Secondly, if the pandemic affected the job you used to have, there is support being developed to allow you to retool for that next career. The opportunity is going to be there, and the opportunity to fit into those positions are going to be there as well. And then finally, with a growing economy, we can amass the resources necessary to deal with these issues like education, transportation, and even childcare. The alternative to expanding opportunity is non-expanding opportunity. And when that happens, you don't have the resources to improve people's lives.
Wrap up with contact information. Where do we go to learn more about the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce?
The easiest, fastest way is go to NashvilleChamber.com. You'll find a website that's going to give you information. But the great thing about the website is that it has layers of information for you as well. You should be able to navigate it pretty easily. But NashvilleChamber.com, you can always call us. And again, I stress, we are partners with so many organizations around the community. Whether it's the chamber or it's another organization, plug in, make a difference.
Absolutely. Well, Ralph, greatly appreciate all you and your amazing team do. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. We have a bright future. Let's all be a part of it.